As home prices keep soaring, Australia's biggest builder, Harry Triguboff, keeps just making more, but he's also changing his strategy in tune with the times and the economy. Now he's expanding his build-to-rent portfolio. In other words, hanging on to more apartments to create an income stream and also a growing asset base. I sat down with him this week to explain the strategy, well, and plenty more. Harry Triguboff, thanks for your time as always. I want to start with interest rates. They're rising in Australia. There are interest rate rises coming. How does this, in your opinion, affect the housing markets, the property markets around Australia?
All right, so we have the big buyers are the local population, but this is divided into two. They are the Chinese who came from China but are now Australians and Australians, right? The Chinese ones, they don't seem to be affected. The Australian ones, they're worried. So I always gave vendor finance. I gave vendor finance when I had no money, never mind now. So I give the money. So I tell them that's your fixed rate, and that's it. You don't have to worry. Goes up, goes up, goes down, that's it.
What's the reason for you offering that vendor finance?
I always did. Because when I started to build, I saw the big problem was not to find a buyer, but to find a buyer with money. So therefore, I organized always money for him if he needed it. I'm not a finance company. I don't compete with them. I would rather they give. But if they can't, then I always give. Because I know that my property is good and I'm very happy. And I have no bad debts, maybe 0.1%, nothing. Somebody dies, divorce or something. Otherwise, it's always good.
Okay, is that also because you can make a margin on the apartment? So long as you can get transactions, you can get turnover, that's the important part.
Very good, yeah, correct. Absolutely, yes.
Then let's go to the second part. Does it actually change the interest rate picture, change the way in which you develop in the future, where you develop, for example?
People used to pay 7, 8, 9%. Now they're used to paying 2, 3%. So it's a big problem. So between you and I, if they could pay 7, 8, 9, they should be able to pay 2 and 3. The problem is they're now used to 2. So then they think, oh, now it'll be 3. But really, they can do it. It's no problem. I'm sure they can. And they will. The rents are going up because there's not enough supply. And the service apartments are doing very, very well. So they have the money. I mean, they go and spend money on service apartments. So I have no doubt that the future is bright. Now also we see people from China now, talk Chinese, yeah? We are attracting people that buy maybe 10 apartments, maybe 5 apartments, which we never saw before. Before they used to buy 1, 2, that's it. Now suddenly I see these. And these are guys who are investors. They don't want to live here because I rent the flats for them. And we are attracting them now. So they see it. And I think the local people must see too, the investors.
So, Harry, the last time I saw you, we were at Botany and you were finishing off the last block in, I think, more than 3,000 apartments you built in that one area, which was phenomenal to see. But I mean, these are homes for people that you have built there. So just explain the rationale as to the way in which you built them and the way in which you sold them.
So I bought very big blocks of land in Mascot. So I could build many apartments. And I built in Botany 60 years ago. And Botany was always an excellent area for leasing, always. Because I started, as I tell you, only from leasing. When I started, the people didn't buy apartments strata title. We didn't have strata title. I used to pay for the rates for a garage in Bondi were as great as the rates for an apartment. We didn't know how to do it. I had to give away the garage because the rates were bigger than what I could sell. So I'm just saying that's how it started. We have to understand It all started from leasing, always not enough apartment, always. I was 70 years in the business, 70 years not enough. Right. Good. So we have now decided that we need build to rent. So they started running around and they said, we'll get investors from overseas and we will give them help with tax and this and that. I did it all from the first day. I didn't have investors from overseas. I sold it to the local people. There's lots of investors here. They know that there's demand and it's very steady. And rents always go up. So not to worry. They made different rules. I won't go into the detail, but the rules they made are not of much use anyway. Just keep on going the way we do. It's all very safe and very good, because never have I found it difficult to lease. The only time in all these years was when we had the COVID. And then we sent the students away and the workers away, and they were my big customers. So what did the balance of the people do? They never left my block. They left their unit because this was empty, so they got it cheaper. They just crossed the corridor. But now that's stopped now. That stopped longer time ago. And the rents are picking up. But the rents are still below what they were at the peak 5 years ago. The rents are still about 10% lower. But they're going up every day. It's not a very slow rise. That's a very quick rise. They're going up all the time, the rents. So they will keep going until we get more supply. That's what we are hoping for.
And with those build-to-rent apartment blocks, given the fact you're holding them and renting them and getting the return, number one, you said earlier on, you therefore don't have to pay the tax, the capital gains tax on it.
Very good, yeah.
Right, so because you're holding. But there's a point at which if you need the capital, you can actually sell or you can move on those properties if you want to.
No, but I always sell some too.
Yes.
I never keep all of them. So let's say I build 1,000 units, I might sell 500, I might leave 500. Always sell so that you don't go begging to the bank. Not because the bank is bad, but you never know his rules. His rules might be such that you both go broke, he and you. So therefore, don't beg from the bank. Be independent if you possibly can. But when you start, you of course need the bank. And when you start, you have to have quick turnover.
And you learned that back in the recession of 1990-91, didn't you?
Yeah.
That you can't go begging to the bank because the bank can change its rules.
Of course they change them. That's my problem. We are a country where everything is very done according to the rules. Remember that. On one hand, it's very good. On the other hand, I have problems. The rules change. I was fighting councils all the time. I wanted less garages. Now people have more money. They want more garages. I say, I want more garages. I can't give it to you. Says, but you wanted less. I said, you're right. But that was 3-5 years ago. Now they've changed. What can I do? So we must be able to change with the times. It's not that he was stupid when he did the rule. The rule just changed. We must learn that things change, and we have to do what the market requires. I do what the market requires. The government must do what the market requires. Market is king, always will be, and is.
Harry Triguboff, it's always great to have a chat to you, and many thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much.